Today's video is a bit different. I want to talk about something that most people don't really show when they move to a new country. This is the dip that happens in the first year. Most people avoid talking about it because they don't want to come across as ungrateful or like a whinging pom. But the truth is, this is the part almost everyone hits. First it's all exciting and shiny, then reality hits and you're stuck in this valley where it feels like nothing's working. For us, a lot of that comes from going through the international teaching pool, where you only get the job if no one else applies for it, is suitable for it, which, let's be honest, means you get what everyone else would rather not do. That's exactly where I'm at right now. Some days I feel like I just want to run away back to the UK and go back to what's easy and comfortable, because this is so much harder than I expected. And trust me, I did 10 years of research. I know that I'm not the only one who's felt like that. I'm realising that this is actually the most honest part of the journey, the part where you don't have to have it all figured out. It's messy, it's hard, but it's real. So that's what I'm sharing today. The dip, the doubts, and the choice to keep going, even when it feels like I'm losing faith in the dream that I had for myself, because we are not quitting. This is just the beginning of the next chapter, and I'm here to see it through. Hands up if you have ever heard of a term called the Valley of Despair. It's a process of transition, it's a process of change. This happens whenever you start any sort of goal, right? So it doesn't just mean from moving from one country to the other, however it definitely applies in this case. It's this idea that when you start something, you go through what's known as this dip. It's linked back to the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's basically where you start off something with initial expectation, an idea of how you're going to respond to it and these challenges, and then you start to be met by the reality of what you've still got to learn, you're not quite fully equipped with. And what happens is you start off right there, that you can see here, it's like anxiety because you're about to start the thing. That was definitely us before we moved over. Even though if you're new to the channel, we experienced living in Australia back in 2015, which is where we first met one another, but in an entirely different state. Then you move into this happiness stage. Oh my God, we did it. Everything is amazing. And if you want to look back on our journey of this, our moving diaries, episode 1 was our first 48 hours in Perth and how we were responding to that. And it was very much in that excited phase, like, oh my God, is this real life? I can't believe this is happening. Again, because we tried for 10 years to make this happen. Then you move into like a fear denial stage. It's like, there's so many more challenges than we thought. And then it moves down again. You move into threat, and this threat stage is again, there's even more challenges. How are we going to deal with this? We knew what we were getting into before we moved in. But again, living experience, guys, is so much more than what Google could ever tell you. If there are maybe people watching this who can't quite understand what this Valley of Despair is, one, this is just validation that this video isn't for you, and just kindly scroll and find something else to watch. 2, it's also that it doesn't matter how much you can Google something. Wisdom and knowledge are completely different things. Knowledge lives in the brain, wisdom lives in the body. Until you have physically experienced something, you're not going to actually know to go through that. Then you move even further down. You move into this defeated stage. I just don't know if we're going to be able to do this. It feels like everything's overwhelming, it's on top of me. And then you hit the bottom of the Valley of Despair, which is depression. This can sound quite dramatic to a lot of people, might not be as full on depression like that. However, that's exactly where I'm at this point in time in our journey. We have been here for almost 6 months now. We came in January of 2025, and it feels like we've been here for 20 years and also 20 minutes at the same time. Every single person who moves to a different country will experience this to varying degrees. But also, if you're someone who goes through the international teaching pool like my husband did, you will most likely end up in what's classed as like a remote area. You're 2 hours outside of Perth. For us, like, we do feel quite disconnected from things. We spent a couple of days in Perth for my daughter to have some dental surgery, and we both said like we just felt a lot more awake within ourselves being in that environment, not the hospital environment, but being in Perth. And then when we came home, it definitely felt like we transported into a different time again. We had our previous experience in a different state, a different area to kind of think about and compare, like in our heart, I suppose. Oh, we're moving back to Australia, we're going to have that feeling again. When we moved back, we didn't. The reason we didn't have that feeling was, like I said, we're in a different environment. So what we've really done, and what I'm kind of moving through myself through, trying to find things that make me feel my sense of home, because then when I feel that sense of home, I feel more comfortable. This isn't like trying to recreate the UK and Australia. This is trying to create things that make me feel comfortable having people that I can go for a coffee with, that I can spend time with who also have kids a similar age, things in my day-to-day routine that make me feel connected to myself, that make me feel healthy, happy. We went to the Best of British store in Perth and Joondalup, $140 worth of things that made us feel that sense of comfort and at home. And I can tell you honestly, just using a cleaning spray that I would have used back in the UK has helped me a lot here, just because it was my favourite scent. It made me nostalgic. My brain automatically connected that to somewhere that I felt really safe, and I just felt like I then got more of that feeling here, which was exactly what I was looking for. So it's not necessarily about you're looking back on whichever country you've come from and thinking, oh my god, like I just want to be back there. I definitely don't want to be back in the UK, guys. I want to make that very clear. Are there things from the UK that I miss that made me feel comfortable? Yes, there are. Am I trying to recreate some of them here? Yes, I am, because that is what's going to help me. The one thing that you need to get through this time to then get through to that phase of more hope again, more belief that things are starting to work out, and then to actually feel settled, is to be creative around things. So how can you be creative with your environment, your day-to-day, people that you're connecting with? If you're not connecting with people in real life, can you connect to some people online, like different groups and expats? Again, this is one big reason why I created these videos. And if you want to click back on the playlist of our settling in journey, I 100% recommend that you do that, because I'm very honest and very raw about how it has felt within this move. I'm not one to sugarcoat anything. So it also helps to just get pure honesty from people. And when you can talk to someone who says you're not on your own in how you feel about this, again, you need the creativity to get through it, and that includes getting a different perspective. Also, just reframing things. I use ChatGPT for everything, and I've really been looking at it like my therapist at the minute. Can you just help me see this differently? Can you help me focus on all of the great positives, even if at the minute I'm just feeling so out of my depth with things? That has massively helped. And then I'm able to then journal on it later on, do a guided meditation in an evening before I go to bed, and just really remind myself, like, we tried so hard for 10 years to get to this point, but this isn't the end point. This is just the beginning of something brand new. Only need to be in more of a remote area or a regional countryside area for 2 years, then we can apply for permanent residency, and then we can move to a more metro area if that's what we choose to do in those 2 years time. So it's like it's not forever, and I think that's what you've really got to realize with the Valley of Despair, is you are not going to be in that forever, but it will require a lot of effort on your behalf and a lot of persistence to see things differently to get out of it. So then once you've got that point, you can then see it's gradual acceptance. It's then moving forward, it's feeling more comfortable with things. It's like, okay, I got through the hardest point. Now I can focus on where I want to go, where I want to be, because these are all very natural and very human responses that we can have to these things. And I know that there's a big stigma around whinging poms and everything else. You're not complaining, you're not whinging. We are trying to see different perspectives. We're reminding ourselves of how amazing this whole thing is and what we get access to now versus what we probably didn't get access to before the move. And yes, we're going to miss things from wherever we've moved from, because they made us feel comfortable, and that's what anyone is trying to do in this life, is have a very comfortable, happy and content lifestyle. So it's normal to miss those things, but it's so important to try and find those new things in your new environment, to try and recreate those things, or to find something brand new that gives you just as much joy as they did in the first place. So if anyone is feeling alone in this whole thing, like maybe you're feeling like you should be more appreciative of something, like maybe you're feeling like, oh my God, like, am I being so ungrateful because I feel this way? You're not. It's completely normal. We're going to keep swimming, and we're going to keep booking in things that give us something to look forward to, that are exciting, that make us realise how lucky and grateful we actually are, even when you're feeling so overwhelmed with emotion and everything else that's happening that you can't maybe see that in the minute. If you like this video, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and potentially share it with anyone else that you think might enjoy it. You're just coming to this channel now through this video, watch one of the playlists of our moving diaries so that you can get to know us, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.